With me is the chair of the Political and Security Committee of the European Union, Delphine Pronk. Ma'am, welcome to WION. This is your first visit to India. You've met many top officials. What has been the key highlight of your India visit?
Thank you so much. And indeed, I am here on a maiden voyage of the members of the European Political and Security Committee. We are a Brussels-based committee with 27 ambassadors, and I'm bringing them to India because our partnership is strategic and it's important and it's on an all-time high. We have met with several officials, including the Secretary of Defense. Later we will meet the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. We've met with think tanks, representatives of the defense industry, civil society organizations, and many other partners and friends. And it's really amazing to see the dynamics in our relationship. We are at a strategic high, and we're here to engage, to listen, and then also to take that back to Brussels when we are deciding on next steps.
Mm-hmm. You made an important point. You mentioned we are at a strategic height. Taking forward, how do you see India-EU relationship? In fact, there are a lot of meetings scheduled in next few months. This week was packed as well, including by your visit. So what's your view about India-EU relationship?
They're strong and they're strategic. And it's not just meetings, it is also important joint exercises such as the one that we had with our defensive military operation Aspides, with our military maritime mission Atalanta, where we work together with the Indian Navy. And it's also engaging in dialogue on matters of security and defense, and that includes counter-terrorism, that includes our defense outlook, but also the discussion on the threats that we are jointly facing, such as hybrid threats and security for all of our people.
Mm-hmm. Ma'am, you mentioned about the issue of counter-terrorism. Terrorism is a major concern for India, for European Union as well. We saw the Pahalgam terror attack by Pakistani-trained terrorists. What is European Union's view? What is your view about it? And how do you plan to strengthen the counter-terror cooperation when it comes to India and the EU?
We firmly condemn any terroristic act, and that is also what we did immediately. And that is why we need to engage on a dialogue with democracies and like-minded partners, such as with India, on a strategic way forward to counter-terrorism. And there's many things that we can exchange on and learn from each other to make sure that for our democracies and for the safety of our people, we work together and fight terrorism. We fight also against security issues that we're jointly facing on a world stage. So that's also what we are engaging on.
Mm-hmm. Ma'am, the terror group responsible for the terror attack, the resistance group, any plans to list it as a terror organization under the EU laws? We have seen the Americans doing so. Any conversation with the Indian side? What's your view on that?
I cannot preempt what the decision of 27 sovereign nations is for specific listings, but we're very clear in our firm and principled position that terrorism should be fought, it should be countered. We have on several levels this engagement and dialogue. There was a high-level Indian delegation in Brussels last week, so for sure those conversations will continue also between diplomats and those who are the technical work colleagues to further that dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Coming to your part of the world, there's war happening in Ukraine. This is something that is on top of the mind of every European policymaker and the people. Now, how do you see India's position on that? India has been reiterating its stance on dialogue and diplomacy. The Indian Prime Minister raised the matter with the Russian President directly just a few weeks ago when they met in China. So how do you see India's stance? What kind of conversation you're having with the Indian side?
Well, what is clear is that for the past 3.5 years, we have seen a full-fledged and unprovoked and unjustified Russian invasion in Ukraine. And we should not forget that this was an invasion into a sovereign nation where territorial integrity is contested and where national sovereignty is not being respected. India and the EU are the biggest democracies in the world, and we are also strong defenders of the UN Charter, that has that territorial integrity and national sovereignty at its heart. So we should call out aggression when we see it happening. And this is not just a European issue or a Ukrainian issue. This affects the world order and the world peace as we want it and as we know it. No one wants peace more than the Ukrainians. They have been under constant attack in the past 3.5 years. And also what we've witnessed last week was a very serious and gross violation of the European airspace with the Russian drones entering into our safe and secure skies. So this is something that is not just a particular European issue. It affects our security, and we ask of partners such as India to make sure that we're working towards a just and sustainable peace. The only one that will be able to also show that he is serious about that is the President Putin. But up to now, his acts have not shown that he is serious, despite many high-level conversations, many high-level engagements to ensure a just and sustainable peace for Ukraine and therefore also for our continent. Those are conversations that we're having also with Indian high-level officials. And I think we're seeing eye to eye that peace, security are essential elements of our partnership, and to make sure that we uphold the international rules-based order.
Mm-hmm. Moving from Europe to the Indo-Pacific, you are having a pivot towards the Indo-Pacific region. How much is India an important pillar of that? How much there is conversation on that? We saw the exercises as well. So if you can share your views.
India is a key partner in our Indo-Pacific strategy and in our policy and dialogue. We have had a very firm and committed strategy to the Indo-Pacific because all these theaters are extremely interconnected. Our latest military naval operation, Aspides, is also doing just that to secure the safe passage of consumer ships that is going from one part of the world to another part of the world. So we're engaging with partners in the Indo-Pacific. Very soon in Brussels, we will host the 4th Ministerial Indo-Pacific Dialogue. We also hope that the Indian Foreign Minister will accept the invitation of the High Representative to be there, because it is important to showcase that we have many interests and many values that bring us together in the Indo-Pacific, that is such a strategic area of interest and concern for us both.
Ma'am, my last question to you is how both sides are cooperating in areas like misinformation, hybrid threats. We've already talked about the maritime domain as well, but what's the future like? And perhaps you can end the interview with your own perspective, given the fact that next 4 or 5 months will be significant for India-EU relationship, culminating in the big summit.
Indeed, in security, there is an inflation in the hybridity of threats that we're facing. So it's not just hard military power that we see at our European borders. It is indeed also the hybridity of threats that are destabilizing our democracies. It is foreign information and manipulation of information. It is cyber attacks. And it's all of those domains that we see that there is really a momentum now to engage and to take the EU-India relationship forward. For that, the 27 EU member states that I also brought to India on this very intense and useful, fruitful working visit, to then in Brussels decide on next steps. And that could include a security of information agreement, because trust between partners is essential when we work on sensitive topics like defense and security. And that could then also lead to India's participation in our permanent structured cooperation, but also to what is in the making, a security and defense partnership. I cannot preempt the decision of the 27, but our working visit this week and the high-level engagements that we have for sure will help us also in a better understanding of each other's positions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for speaking to WION, giving us a perspective about what to expect and where the relationship stands. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Sidhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.